intelligence community currently assesses that both ISIS-K and al-Qaeda have the intent to conduct external operations, including against the United States, but neither currently has the capability to do so. We could see ISIS-K generate that capability in somewhere between 6 or 12 months. I think the current assessments by the intelligence community is that al-Qaeda would take it.
Joining us to discuss this is Christopher Anzalone. He's a research assistant professor in Middle East Studies at the Krulak Center at the Marine Corps University in Quantico, Virginia. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the program. Now, before we get into how big of a threat Daesh is at the moment, I want to talk a bit about their operations and how exactly they're regrouping. We've seen in many cases members of Daesh recruited from Western nations and from Europe. Are people in those regions their main target?
So the main target actually of ISIS or Islamic State or Daesh has been not particularly, Westerners were a target, but they also want to, particularly now that they've lost their territorial sort of rebel state, that they are trying to recruit locally, much more regionally in West Africa and in Central Asia, various South Asia and other places such as this.
Right. So how big of a threat is Daesh today, taking into consideration these reports of them regrouping?
So it is a significant threat, and it's actually in some ways more of a threat because of the decentralization of its different branches across in sub-Saharan Africa, in Asia, so that Islamic State, Daesh has been very good about giving its regional branches or provinces, as it calls them, a great deal of autonomy to determine how to operate. There is a pledge of allegiance that the local leaderships give to the central or the Daesh core, if we think of it that way, in Syria and Iraq, the central leadership. But beyond that, most of the branches seem to operate very much autonomously, and they may receive some financial support, though many of the branches seem to be self-sufficient in that regard. And there is some centralization of the media, sort of the propaganda apparatus of Daesh, where they send materials, media materials, propaganda materials to the central organization's media apparatus. But in terms of their on-the-ground sort of kinetic or military terrorist operations, they're able to determine that largely autonomously from the central leadership.
All right. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to end that there, Christopher Anzalone, but thank you so much for joining us here on the NewsHour.